Good morning, everyone. Actually, I think it's afternoon. Might be about 11. No, wait a minute. I think it's 12 o'clock. I'm getting ready to do another quilt, and this one is a charity quilt for my guild, and I picked it up a couple of days ago. Actually picked up another one today, so I'll quilt that in the future. And this one's really pretty. It's a little sweet pink quilt. It's got some pink batting. I'm actually back here behind my long arm, getting ready to staple the back of the quilt on. And I'm going to be using this Omni thread, and I think it's just pink. I don't know. I just ordered some more pink because I didn't think I had any pink. And I found it sitting over there with this quilt, and I totally forgot about it. I don't know. It might not happen to you, but it happens to me. So I have my quilt laying over the back here, and I've already stapled it to the front. It's always easier to put it on the front first and then lay it over the back and roll it up until it meets the leader. And you can see right here that it's not exactly straight, so I'll have to improvise a little bit when I get ready to staple it on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. And I think I can roll it up a notch. So let's try a couple of little notches. I want it to be as even as possible. And then I'm just going to take my stapler, and it's an electric stapler. Eco Electronics. I don't know. I'm not very good at pronouncing things, so. And then I'm just going to staple it on. And you can see how fast this goes, and this is how fast it went on the front. And there we go. I really like the way that one did, because it's a little bit further in the corner there. And there we go. And then I'm just going to throw this back on this side and roll the quilt up. All right, now that I got my backing on, I'm going to go ahead and put the batting they gave me on here. This is not a very big quilt, so it shouldn't take me very long. I think I'm going to do the binding also. They had some magic binding with it, so it's already cut and ready to go. All right, that looks pretty good. So here's the top. And so I noticed as I was taking a picture of it yesterday, so it's 44 by 56. I noticed that one of the blocks are placed wrong. So let me see if I can find it. Maybe that's why they gave it to charity. This block and this block are in the wrong place. Can you see it? Because it should look like this side. Now, I don't even know if the person that made it even notices it. So these should be all the same, and then the corner block should look like that. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if they did that on purpose or it was done and they haven't noticed, which I have done. I've quilted a whole quilt and realized I had a block wrong. So that does happen sometimes. And I think this quilt is going to be very pretty when it's done. So let's get started. I'm going to clean out my bobbin area, and this is the thing I don't like about using Omni thread, is all the dust, or the dust bunnies, or whatever you want to call them. There's a lot of them. Anyway, today I was at the guild meeting, and a lady was doing a presentation, look at that, on how she keeps track of her quilts that she does, and she's showing how she used to put it in a binder, and then she keeps track of all the different attributes about the quilt so that she can remember, which I had tried that once. I kind of made my own piece of paper to do that. The problem with that is then you have to take a picture of it, and then you have to print the picture out and attach it somehow, and that was just kind of a pain. So I didn't really get that far on it. I ended up making a database that I could just use electronically. Anyway, one of the things that she was saying was that she had a place to track her tension on her quilt, and because she said, well, you know, each kind of thread has different tension, and I thought, well, yeah, that's true, but normally if you change the bottom tension and you make sure that the bottom tension is always set the same, then you normally don't have to change the top tension. So I wasn't really quite sure if it was the bottom. It had to have been the bottom tension, but why would she change it to a different number? What do you guys do? Do you keep your bottom tension always the same for whatever kind of threads? I use all kinds of thread, and I only make the bottom tension like 195, 190, somewhere between 180 and 200, and I usually never have to change the top tension, just once in a great while. So do you change your bottom tension to a different number, or do you get your top tension set to where you want it and always set your bottom tension to that same number? Because you will have to change your bottom bobbin tension for different kinds of thread and even for different colors sometimes. So let me know what you guys do. And tension is like the number one problem most long armors have. And if you haven't seen Jamie Wallen's video on how to solve your tension problems, you should go check that out. He has a good way of setting your tension, and just after you do that, then it should be fine. So I haven't had any problems with my changing my top tension since I got it where I like it. So let me know. So maybe this is the first time you have ever watched one of my videos and you're new to long arming. Then I'm just going to quickly show you how I set my quilt up to get it before I quilt it. All of you that have been long arming for a while, you have probably your own techniques. So I'm just going to put it in hand guided mode, and then I'm going to put the channel locks on. I'm just going to kind of get the top where I want it. I'm usually pretty good about guessing where it needs to be. Like, this is actually pretty straight, so, and there you go. Take the channel locks off, go back over to the top. I just don't like putting that line down. You know, I used to do that all the time. You stitch a line down and then put the quilt up next to that line. I don't know. Seemed like extra work. So, why am I breaking thread? That's interesting. Anyway, I'm going to get this top stitched down after I fix my thread break. Hopefully that's not going to be what's going to happen the whole quilt. So after talking about thread tension, I had a little problem with my own. So it kept breaking the thread up at the top, and the top tension was a little too tight. So I corrected it, and it seems to be stitching fine. So sometimes you are going to have to change your top tension, which I think is the part that scares most people. Most of the quilters I know, they all tell me They never change the type of thread they're using, so they don't have to change their tension. And and I think that if that works for them, that's fine. You know, that you have to do what you're comfortable with, for sure. I get bored with the same kind of thread, and I want to test out different things, so I do try a lot of different types of thread. So I could tell this quilt is going to have a little bit of wonkiness to it. And it's probably just the nature of the piecing, it being on the diagonal. So I had a little bit of fullness in the middle, but I think it'll all quilt out and it'll look great. So I'm going to go pick a pattern. I think I might go with a floral daisy. Who knows? I think I'm going to go with this daisy pattern. It is called, why does it mean, oh, I'm actually still in my edge to edge. Okay. It is called Daisy Dot E to E, and it is by Marlene Foster of Humble Bee Quilting. So if you want to try this pattern, you might be able to find it on Urban Elements or one of those places, but that's what it's called. So it looks like we have 3 repeats and 5 rows. So I think I'm going to wind 3 bobbins. I don't know that I'll need all 3, but I'll go ahead and try. Have you guys ever tried this tape? It is called Amazing Tape. And I use it on my thread spools. You just wrap it and it clings to itself like that, and it keeps your thread from unwinding. You can get it on Amazon. It works really good. Before I don't know, I tried all kinds of things to keep the thread tidy, and this seems to work pretty good. So we're just going to go ahead and wind these bobbins. Oh, well, it helps if I actually thread the machine right. So I used to have the older Gammill bobbin winder, and I went to a Gammill class and I bought this new one, and I love this thing. I hated the other one, and this one automatically shuts off, and I like it much better. All right, here we go. And then I just kind of wait and snap off the thread. Okay, the first row is done, and it took 10 minutes to stitch out the first row. Can't really see the quilting that great. I just changed the needle. Some of this fabric always runs, drives me crazy, but I think it looks pretty good. So we got a mixture, I think, of, I don't know, I can't tell if this is a batik or a print. It might just be a print because it's running. All right, so it'll take approximately 15 minutes to finish this quilt, which isn't bad. So then you have to add, you know, your setup. Give yourself a half an hour or an hour, however long it takes you to set up your quilt, and there you go. I'm all finished with this quilt, and it took me about an hour and a half. I was doing other stuff too, so, you know, so sometimes there's a little break in between. I was trying to get my sewing room kind of cleaned up. It was a mess. There wasn't any problems. I didn't have any real problems with fullness like I thought I was going to, and it came out pretty straight. I did use 3 bobbins, and that's about it. I'll show you guys the finished quilt in a few seconds. Here's the finished quilt, and I think it turned out really good. And you guys might be able to see where the blocks got switched. This block and that block. but I still think it looks cute. Maybe she did it on purpose. I don't know. I think it turned out really well. You can't see the quilting because it's pink, and you can't see the quilting on the back. So all it is about is, I guess, the piecing. And it's a pretty cute little quilt. So what do you guys think?